Welcome to the Arsenal Show. We are live. The Champions League squads are out. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the expectations in the Cup this season, both Carabao Cup, FA Cup, and the Champions League. And, of course, the interview that happened the other day, which people are talking about, is a Declan Rice interview. We're going to be talking about the comments in that one. I'm joined by Steve K. He's back again. And I'm joined by Melvin Marks. How's everyone doing?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Yeah, good, mate. Good to be back. Good to be back.
Good. So the Champions League squad came out. The Champions League draw. Let's start off with the Champions League draw. We didn't discuss that last week. So the Champions League draw came out last week, and Arsenal were drawn against Seville, Lens, and PSV Eindhoven of Holland. Some people may say it's a favourable group. Some people even had the disrespect to say that is a Europa League group. I think that's a bit unfair to some of them teams in there. But of all the groups we can get, I think we done well. We was lucky to be in pot 2 based on the fact that we've had a few half decent runs in Europe and we're Arsenal. And then the draw came out and we're lucky enough to get these teams. Steve, first and foremost, there's the draw. Sevilla, PSV, Lens. What was your thoughts on the group there?
Yeah, I mean, when the teams come out, I mean, the first reaction from everybody was that, you know, we'd sort of got away with one, and it was an easy group, which surprised me a little bit. I mean, they're good trips, you know, to go to France and Spain and Holland. You know, it's certainly good for our Premier League program. So, because you know they're not far away, and you know you can certainly come back the same night and things like that when we play them away. But I was with you a little bit when you said at the beginning there that I think people were a little bit disrespectful of these teams. I find it a little bit of a tougher group than what people have sort of have said. I mean, I looked at Seville and I thought, oh. Yeah, all right, okay, look, we could have gotten into Milan, we could have got Bayern Munich, I got a little bit Barcelona. You know, we could have got one of these type of teams, that, you know, that fair enough. But we've got Seville, so let's look at them. They're a hard team to beat. That's not an easy game. You know, they're a very, very, very experienced European side. And they've got some good players. I did have a look at their players before we come on tonight, and must be the age, but it's completely gone out in my head. But I know they've got some players. And then just quickly, I mean, we look at the other PSV. I mean, am I right in saying they beat us? Was it last year or the season before? They did, didn't they?
Yeah, they've not exactly.
And you know, to go away to PSV is very difficult. It's like it's a hostile atmosphere. I mean, the crowd there is like a crazy mad. And also PSV, when they come to the Emirates, you know, they're certainly going to, you know, make themselves heard. So, and they've got players as well. They've got like players like Noah Lang, who's a very good player, and you know, and they've got others. They've definitely got other good players, and even Lens of France, one of the most hostile atmospheres you will ever get. When you go to France, when you play in Lens, they are mad. They are crazy mad. They're Marseille mad. You know, that's going to be difficult for our players. You know, it's for me, this isn't going to be easy. And also, they've got like a guy that everybody will seem to be after in the summer transfer window in Eli Wahi. You know, who was wanted by Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester United, I mean, Arsenal were looking at him. He's a very dangerous player. So, yeah, look. We missed out on some of the big boys, but for me that's still a difficult group for me. And you know, a lot of Arsenal fans saying, "Oh yeah, we'll walk that." I don't think so. I don't think we can really afford to start messing about playing weakened sides in this group. I think we really do have to show these teams a lot of respect.
Yeah, I agree. Melvin, what was your thoughts on the group when it was drawn?
I was very happy with it, to be quite honest with you. I mean, Steve talked about the guy Wallo, I don't know how to pronounce his name, that a lot of the clubs are after him, including Chelsea. I'm shocked that they're after another player. I'm actually shocked. You know, Really shocked me. But anyway, put me to rest. But Eindhoven, I was speaking to, it might have been James Rowe I spoke to the other day, and he's very good on Dutch football, as you know. And though they lost their forward to Liverpool, what's his name? The guy that plays up top for Liverpool.
Cody Gakpo.
Yeah, he was probably one of their best players. He says those that lost him, they've actually improved the squad, and they were good against us, especially away from home. And I think you find, Steve, that when you play away from home in Europe, the crowd is normally always up for it. It's always hostile. It's not like a league game sometimes, but you get a little bit of hostility. In Europe, they may not be the greatest teams in the world sometimes. And I'm not saying these aren't. They're very good teams. But the atmosphere is electric. It's the big one, isn't it? It is the big one. So wherever you play, you're going to get that. And the other two teams, Seville must be a completely different team to who we played in pre-season last year. I think we beat them 6-0.
They were a completely different team that same season as well.
Oh, were they?
Well, not completely different as in the team, but that same team knocks Man United out of the semi-final of the Europa League.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, they remember,
in pre-season.
Wow.
And they walloped them, didn't they?
They
absolutely wiped the floor of them,
Yeah.
Wow. So look, it's not an easy group. It's not a hard group. It's chirpy, cheap, middle of the road. But if you're going to get further in Europe, you've got to play well, no matter who you're playing. So we've got to be up for it every single game. I'm sure we will be up for it, but we've got to play well. We've had our misfortunes in Europe in the last few seasons where we played teams that we been in a good position and thrown it away, got the away goal, come back, got a goal at home, looking like we're going through, and then just absolutely thrown it away. So no, I'm happy with the draw. Happy with the teams we're playing. We don't have to travel too far for the squad and also our supporters. But we should, if we're not good enough to beat at least two teams in this league to get through, then we don't deserve to get through.
Yeah. I agree. It's for us to be back in the Champions League for the first time. What is it? 6 years, and to get this group, I think we're very lucky. Because it's a tough group. We've come unstuck against PSV before. Sevilla, a very good team in Europe. They've got good European pedigree. But of all the groups to get out of our first time in the Champions League in a few years, I think this is the one that we wanted. It will be tough. It's not easy, and I agree with Steve. There's a lot of people dismissing it and dismissing the difference in Champions League and Europa League as well. Steve, what's your expectations for the Champions League this season for Arsenal?
I think we definitely need to get, win this group, because once you get into that, that final 30, 32 or 16, whatever it may be, you could draw anybody. So I think it's important that we win the group and hope that one of the big teams don't finish second. Knowing Arsenal's luck, we've done that in the past, haven't we? Drawn Bayern Munich, so I think they finished second one year. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I can't. We win the group and Bayern Munich finish second, and sod's law, we actually go and draw them, and then get hammered 5-0. So hopefully that don't happen. But look, we've got a good squad now. We've got a strong squad. We should win this group and hopefully get favourable draw, in the knockouts round. And then it's all look. It depends who you draw, doesn't it? It depends who what comes out the comes out the pot. And then you just. Then it's just a one-off match or two matches to see whether who goes through to the next round. Look, I mean, hopefully, ideally, I'd like to get to at least, if we can get to the quarterfinals, then I think first year, I think I'd be happy with that. But again, it all goes back to who you draw. If you get to the quarterfinals, you get knocked out by a Bayern or an Inter or Man City or someone on them lines, then you can accept it. If you get knocked out by a Spartak Moscow or someone or a Marseille or something like that, then the champion. So it all depends. I'd be happy, getting knocked out by a top team. But look, hopefully we can go far. you know, the other teams have got difficult groups. You know, they could get knocked out along the way. Yeah, I mean, can we win it? Probably not. Probably not in our first year. Yeah, quarterfinals I'd probably be happy with, but I do go back to what I said, that it all depends who we're playing in that quarterfinals. But quarterfinals, semi-finals at a push would be amazing. But who knows? You could go. We could win it. Tottenham got to a final, didn't they, 1 year? So anything's possible. Luck of the draw, I think, mate. And then let's see. But yeah, I think quarters would be good.
Melvin, what's your expectations of the Champions League for Arsenal this season?
Well, the expectation at least to get out the group, and I think at least to get past the first knockout round. Anything after that, if and when we get knocked out, I want it to be a good performance and not like kind of what Steve was alluding to, against a team that's not really that good and just have a bad performance, get knocked out. I want the team to beat us, deserve to beat us, and fight and have to beat us, you know, on their own merits rather than us giving it to them. So we've got to tighten up a bit, because our league performances so far defensively haven't been that good, I don't think.
Yeah.
So, but by the time we get past hopefully get out the group, then we'll be a more settled side, and you know, we'll be better defensively, and that will, being better defensively means you actually are better offensively as well. You can afford to take a few chances. So, and listen, get out as I say, I think the must is going to be out the group and get past the first knockout stage. Anything less than that will be a shame and it'll be a disappointment. Anything over that, I'll take as I say, take every round as it comes and keep dreaming.
Melvin, there are people that will say that Inter Milan got to the final last year. Arsenal are better than Inter Milan, so Arsenal should be pushing to get to a semi-final at least. What's your thoughts on that?
Doesn't work like that, does it, Kieran?
No.
It doesn't. Football doesn't work like that. You cannot use that argument, I don't think. You know, for many years, you look at the league table, take Man City out over the last 30 years or 40 years, you can see one team, A beats B, B beats C, and C beats A. You know, that happens so many times. And also, why did they win? Who do they play against? Were they lucky? Did things run for them? You know, was it just the other team had a problem at that stage of the tie? You know, it just happens like that sometimes. To say we're better than we might be better than a team on our day, Kieran. All right, I'll give you that. But on our off day, we might be far worse than Inter Milan, and that's what's going to knock you out. So no, I don't think we can use that argument.
Steve, same question for you. There'll be people out there saying that Inter Milan got to a final. Arsenal are in a better position than Inter Milan. Arsenal are, if Man City won the league in England and Arsenal weren't far off of them, surely Arsenal should be pushing for the Champions League and trying to win it in their first season back.
No, I mean, look, I agree with what Melvin said. I mean, it's a lazy way of looking at things, isn't it? You know, and it's sort of, football doesn't work in, you know, that way. I mean, if it did, it'd be great, wouldn't it? Because some people would be saying, yeah, it'd be great. Yeah, it'd be like Conkers. Yeah. So, yeah, dip it in some vinegar at the big start of the game or something like that. Stick their heads in, or put their boots. Yeah,
put it in the
that's
oven,
it. Yeah, so like, harden them up a bit, which actually Arsenal could do with some hardening up. It's probably something that we've been missing at the start of this season. But no, it's just, as Melvin's already sort of said, you know, it doesn't work like that. You know, as you said, you would expect Arsenal to get out of that group, just because, like, you know, would when Tottenham got to the final, were they the second best team in Europe? Nonsense. When Mourinho won it with Porto, were they the best team in European football? No, they wasn't. You know, maybe when Liverpool won it, were they? No, not by a long shot. So it doesn't work like that. And it's a similar sort of way that they're looking at that, the way they're looking at the group and dismissing it. You know, you look at the teams in it, and anything can happen at any given day. I mean, you look at PSV and, for instance, Seville. I mean, if you was to sort of judge them on a Premier League side, I mean, what would you say? You'd say that they was a Brighton, possibly. You know, maybe Brighton's on the same level as PSV. You know, West Ham. You know, could Seville be a West Ham? You know, so if you was playing them, would you be sort of giving it as a given? Oh yeah, they're going to be. You wouldn't, would you? We'd be sitting there going, oh, this could be tough. I'll take a draw here. So people can't really go around and say, oh, because we're better than them, we're going to win. We're going to go through it. It does not work like that. Football does not work like that. You know, there's, you know, if it works in them sort of. In them ways, you know, we probably would all have an easier life, wouldn't we? You know, being fans and managers will certainly have an easier life. But no, you can't look at it like we've all said really. When it comes up, injuries is going to play a part. Who's what team picking that day? We know who's available to the other sides, who's fit and who ain't, and you know and form's going to take. Look, form is going to be a massive thing. Going forward into, you know, we could go into a match and be on form and get beat by a lesser team. So no. As I say, I think that's a little bit of a lazy way how to look at it.
I think, Steve. I think what it is as well. It's a knockout competition, not the same as a league. I mean, up to last season, normally the team that wins the league, how many times they won the cup as well? By that thought, they should win the cup every year. The best team, but they don't.
Yeah.
So that's why you can't equate it to the best team winning the European, the Champions League, because it is a knockout. And as you say, different things happen to turn games, thin lines, thin margins can change it.
Yeah.
So that's why I can't do it on that. You can't do it on that.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And I think it's a perfect way to put it. It's a lazy way of putting it. It doesn't work. Football doesn't work like that. You can't say, especially when you're going on a league form, you can't say that we were second in the league in England, so we're not far off Man City, so they won the treble. European football, and especially the Champions League, is completely different than any other football. You've got to be slower, you've got to be more patient, you've got to be more clinical. It's completely different. And that's also the same as these teams that you're calling the lesser teams. They will get chances against you. And that's the key difference. They probably be a bit more ruthless as well than the likes of a Brighton or the likes of a Newcastle that may get a chance against you in a game. PSV are likely to get a chance and score. I mean, it was only last season that Xavi Simons was playing for them as well. He was another player that was.
Is he the one with the hair, the curly hair?
Yeah.
But where's he now, Kieran?
Leipzig, RB Leipzig.
I'll tell you what, he looked very good against us, didn't he?
Very good player.
He looked very lively.
PSG bought him back like 7 million.
That's what I was going to say. I thought,
and then they loaned him back out to RB Leipzig. So PSV are absolutely fuming. They've lost one of their best players. Also on the same season, they lost Cody Gakpo, and then he's gone to RB Leipzig now. But very, very.
Has he gone is it on a loan or is it?
It's on the loan. He's gone to RB Leipzig on loan.
All right.
So PSG are probably looking for some decent money for him now. Smart move for them. He's getting passed from pillar to post, but very good, very, very good player. But they've got other players in their team, so it'd be interesting to see who they will play. They've just lost Ruben Nistelrooy walked out yesterday or the day before. So they have a new manager.
Why's he left then?
I will actually look at it. One of my followers actually tell me about it.
That's amazing. I know he has left. I wonder why he left.
Yeah, he walked out, I think it was. It wasn't the case that he got sacked. He walked out. I'll have a little look into it when we're going on. I'll find out by the end of the show. So, also the Champions League team, the squad got picked. And here it is, Aaron Ramsdale, David Raya, and James Hilson in goal. And people wondering who James Hilson is. He's one of our under-23 goalkeepers promoted. Been there for a long time now. Cedric in the squad, which is a surprise to some people. Lino Sosa also in the squad, the youth player who's very highly regarded. Tomiyasu, Zinchenko, Ben White, Gabriel, Jacob Kiwior, and excuse me, am I seeing things?
What's that?
Mohamed El Nene. Why do I not see Gabriel in that team?
Oh, don't say that. I was going to ask you, are there anybody missing?
No, he's there.
Gabriel's there.
He's there. Oh my word, my heart was beating there. I didn't have his surname. Gabriel's in that team that takes up the defenders.
What about Timber?
No, he's not. He's not. But he can.
No.
If he back in time,
They can come in January.
Oh, can you come in January? Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Good.
This is the first selection. Midfielders: Mohamed El Nene, surprising inclusion. Jorginho, Thomas Partey, Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard, Kai Havertz, Fabio Vieira, Emil Smith-Rowe, and Leandro Trossard. And the forwards: Saka, Martinelli, Reece Nelson, Eddie Nketiah, and Gabriel Jesus. Steve, we'll start off with the surprise inclusions. Cedric Soares, Lino Sosa, and probably El Nene is the surprising inclusions into the squad. Especially El Nene has played for us in about a year now after his injury. Sosa, a youngster. I don't think you have to register the youngsters that are under the age of 21, but it says a lot about him actually being registered, whether we don't have the players or not, and we just had to put him in there for the 25. And obviously Cedric Soares, who you would have thought would have gone in the summer, is still here and is now actually a part of the squad. What's your thoughts on those surprise inclusions?
Yeah, surprised to see El Neni there, just due to the fact that he's been injured. And I think we're pretty well stocked in the middle of the park anyway. So I think if anything, we could have brought in maybe another defender, because I still feel we're a little bit light, in the defensive department, especially after getting rid of Kieran Tierney. And I don't know too much about Sosa. Is he? I know quite a bit about the youth players lately. I've been sort of swatting up on them, but Sosa I'm not too sure on. Is he? What is he? A right? Is it? Do you know what he is? Is he a centre back or right?
He's a left back. He's a full back. Can play left back and right back. And he's been around the squad a few times now. He was in the Europa League squads last season.
Yeah,
he's always the one that gets kind of called up. It's him and there's the other fullback, but it's Sosa.
Waters
is the other defender.
Raul
Waters.
That's he's the guy I was going to mention. Funny enough, that I'm surprised he's not in there in front of probably Sosa, who I know Waters can play, very versatile. There was talks of him even, going in front of bringing him in instead of Timber, as that make weight for him until he gets fit. So I'm very surprised Raul Waters in there. I don't know if Jack Wilshere's had a word and said, look, we're going to need him for certain games, and if he gets injured, then we are trouble. Because for me, he was probably one of the closest youth players to coming into like the Arsenal first team. So I'm a little bit surprised that he's not, and he's a beast as well. He's a big boy, and I've seen him play quite a few times for the youth side recently, and I like him a lot. So that's a big surprise. Cedric, again another. He plays obviously on that right back. You would have thought we got White and Tomiyasu and Cedric now. Again, I would have thought we were pretty well stocked on there, but you've got to name 25 players. I can see Sosa. I probably would have brought in Sosa for Waters instead of Sosa, or Waters instead of Cedric. One of the two. I would like to have seen a couple of more, youth players in there. El Neni's a strange one. Maybe he's just making up the numbers because there's no one else, and you've got to name 25, which maybe says something about that we may be a little bit short, and which goes back to the transfer window. And then why didn't we bring another defender in? which still remains a little bit of a mystery to me. But yeah, the Raw Waters one's a surprise. Cedric, look, maybe it's his experience, maybe it's his European experience. Portuguese international, over 50 caps, used to playing in Europe. Euro winner for Portugal. So, maybe he could stand us in good stead at certain times if we need to, sort of see out matches and stuff. So his experience could be telling. So there's a point. But yeah, I think probably Walters surprised me out of all of them. I would have liked to have seen him in there.
Yeah, Lino Sosa I think we got him from West Brom a couple of seasons ago. Again, a player that's very highly regarded in the youth team. He's been getting minutes here and there in the team. So yeah, Mikel Arteta knows. It's just like you said, it's just not the name that Walters went on tour with Arsenal as well. So you'd expect him to be in the team. Melvin. Firstly, the surprise inclusions: Mohamed El Nene, Lino Sosa, and Cedric Suarez. Surprised, especially with the likes of Mohamed El Nene and Cedric in the squad.
Of course, I think you get to a point where you think, are they just making up the numbers? It's rude to say that, but that's what you think. Because, like Steve says, he's been getting rave reviews, Waters. And he's a big lump. He's big. He's strong. Is he 18, Steve? But he looks about 28.
Yeah. Exactly.
Really
He's I use the word. He's a beast. He is. He's massive.
Beast. Exactly right. So I'm just a bit shocked that he's not in the squad instead of one of them. Most certainly Cedric, because I mean Cedric has hit the ceiling and he's on the way. He's not going to get any better, is he? He's hit his ceiling, Cedric. With all due respect. Yeah. And if we have to play with Cedric, I think the alarm bells might be going, Yeah. So I was a bit surprised at that. I would have liked to see Waters and another guy get a chance to just be on the bench, get a bit of experience, and with 10 minutes to go, if we're in a great position, bring him on. But that's not to be. But listen, that's I'm sure that he knows what he's doing. I don't think he's kept him back because of. I wouldn't have thought he kept him back because of what Jack Wilshere might need or not need. What's more important is European football. Not that who we're going to have as number 25 is going to be whether we get through or not. But I think that's the priority anyway. But it's strange. It's Cedric. I forgot all about him. Do you reckon they forgot about him as well? Do you reckon his bit of paper went under the desk and the cleaning lady came in one morning and goes, "Oi, I just found this. Oh my God. What's the date now? We've missed it." I think it's a bit of that, isn't it?
I think it is a case of it's not rude. It is making up numbers. I think it shows. We thought this season that we've got a team with two squads and we've done really well with adding depth and we have, but this goes to show that the depth doesn't really go as far as potentially youth players that might be ready or the aging players that you might have in the squad that will still sort of make an impact. Mohamed El Neni and Cedric just are not getting minutes this season. There's other players well ahead of them. Yeah. And I think would even move players out of position into those positions rather than play them as well. The likes of Thomas Partey in a right back position. I don't see Cedric coming in to do anything there because there's so many more players in this squad that could go in at left back and you can shift another player into that right back from midfield we've seen with Thomas Partey. So I just don't see Cedric coming in. Mohamed El Neni, again, good around the squad. Good for banter and camaraderie, but it gets to a point when I'm sure we could buy a player that can do both. And he's probably coming towards the end. But again, he's definitely going to stick around to get used to him because I just see him he's doing his coaching badges here. So I think he's going to be here for the long term. And someone who's going to come into midfield and potentially close up a game or add a bit of bite to it. You've got players in there that can do that. You've got Declan Rice, Thomas Partey, Jorginho. They can all come in and play. So we don't need them in there. I just do think it's a case of adding to the numbers. The rest of the squad, Steve, we've seen the standards. David Raya in the team. Do you think he could potentially get a shout in some games, or do you think that this is still Aaron Ramsdale's position to lose?
Yeah, this is a tough one. I personally, I'd like to see Raya brought in, not because of Ramsdale's done anything wrong, just because the fact that I think we all want to see what he's like, don't we? I think it's not like we're going to be bringing in like a Matt Turner in to play sort of like an Inter Milan or a Bayern. David Raya is a different level from Matt Turner. We are bringing in an international goalkeeper, so I do want to I want to see him, and I feel that he's got to get his chance sometimes. And a lot of clubs do have this thing where in Europe they play a different goalkeeper if they've got someone decent. Man City do. They in the Champions League they play Ortega, and Ederson doesn't play. So there's a very good chance that I think we will see Raya, and a large part of me wants to see him play. So I'd like to see Raya in the Champions League games. I'd like to see Raya play in the cup games because I know he's a good keeper. And I want to see what he's about. I've seen him at Brentford, but I want to see him in goal for us. I want to see what he's capable of. And again, but before I get the Ramsdale people on me, it's not that Ramsdale's nothing wrong. He hasn't. I just believe that we've got a good goalkeeper there who we will be buying for good money. He's not going nowhere. Do you know what I mean? The deal's already been done, even though it's been going on for a loan. So we don't want to see him sit there. And he's a class goalkeeper at the end of the day. And I think he can do a job. Will Arteta bring him in? I think he will. Because Raya's got to have been told something, to make him come to the club. Because I don't think the conversation would have been come to the club, David, but we're going to play Ramsdale all the time. But if Ramsdale gets injured or you have to wait until he has a couple of stinkers before you can come in. I don't think that would have impressed him and made him sign a contract for Arsenal. So I'm sure he's been told something, and I think that would be probably the Champions League football. But I would personally like to see him start.
Sheepo says, is it wrong that I'm excited to see Raya? Looks like a footballer in goal. I feel guilty because I love Ramsdale. Melvin, do you see an opportunity to bring in Raya in this European games, or would you like to see Ramsdale to keep his spot?
No, it's got to be Raya. I agree with Steve. This is a perfect opportunity. There's a perfect line between European football and Premier League football. So therefore, you're not really having a go at Ramsdale. They're just giving someone an opportunity, and it's not really costing Ramsdale as much as it would for a league game. Because once you put Raya in the league team, Premier League team, then all of a sudden, if you don't suddenly take him out again and put Ramsdale in, Ramsdale go, oh, have I been dropped? Whereas for the European game, it's the distinct line between the two competitions. And it's a tough competition.
Yeah.
I think that it can be justified. And I think that Steve's right. He will definitely get picked because I don't think that Arteta wants to face the abuse from Raya's grandfather. I think he's definitely got to pick him. All right, that's a definite.
And he would definitely not hold back his words either.
Exactly.
They're not going to hold back. Grab him by the ear, 100%. And Steve, the rest of the squad looking good. Zinchenko, Arsenal seem to have looked a lot more fluid since he came in. Saliba in there, first time in the Champions League. Players like Jorginho could be quite influential in this competition for us. And obviously, we get to see the likes of Saka, Martinelli in the Champions League for the first time in their careers. See what they can do on their level.
Yeah, I mean, for the rest of them, it's a good squad. I mean, first, when I do look at that, I must admit, I do look at the fringe players and what they can bring. I mean, one player that really stands out for me in that squad, who my eyes just went straight to, was Jorginho, and what the manager's going to do with him. Because I got this funny feeling he's going to start.
Mm-hmm.
I got a funny feeling. I don't think he's going to play. Arteta's going to play this three at the back inverted in Europe. I'm pretty sure he isn't. Not for those one-off games. So I think you might see Jorginho come in. I think you might see him come in maybe the game before that in the league to sort of get his eye in, if you like. Because Jorginho and European football, for me, it just clicks, doesn't it? You know, it automatically, your mind just thinks Italian Jorginho, what he's done, the games that he's played in, nothing phases him, does it? You know, and that sort of partnership of Jorginho and Declan Rice, for me anyway, has got this ring to it. You know, I like it. You know, it gives me, it excites me. You know, but Jorginho has been a great buy, and I think his importance, you know, going into this Champions League and how far we get, a lot of it could come down to him on the pitch and also off the pitch, because he's been there, he's done it, he's got the T-shirt. So Jorginho, I think, someone who's going to be really important in that squad, and it's going to be interesting to see how the other lads do, players like Odegaard and Saka and Martinelli. At the same time, there's going to be players in there who are going to have to step up, because I think we're going to, you know, we may get to in a minute when we talk about how we've done the rest of this, you know, so far this season. But there's certainly players in there in that squad now that will need to step up in that. You know, when we play even teams like Lens, because like Melvin said, they're different matches. When you go to these places, it's their biggest match of the season. Do you know what I mean? Maybe their biggest match for years when Arsenal come to their ground. So, you know, they're going to have to play a lot better than what they've we've been doing recently. Some of them, anyway.
Yeah, Melvin, get a good chance to see the levels of Saka and Martinelli in the Champions League for the first time. And as Steve was saying, Jorginho could be an important figure in this squad this season in European football.
When Steve spoke about Jorginho, yeah, I agree. But I think where we might see him is in every away tie, because I think that he's a calming effect. He's got I know he can play forward, but he's defensively is very good. You know, he's reads the game so well, and like you said, Steve, he's got a calming effect on all the other players around him. So I think might see him at home in certain ties, but I think primarily we might use him away from home more. But it's a good, fantastic squad player to have. See what levels Martinelli and Saka. I think we've seen their levels, and they can get even better. The pair of them.
You think the Champions League will help them develop as well into better players?
I think it will. Yes, I think it will be a great experience for them. I think international football has helped Saka. To be honest with you, I really do, and I think he kick on again with European type football, which is different to international football. So yeah, I think it could help the pair of them, and God, so exciting, so exciting. For the European, I mean, none of us have seen it for years, have we? To be there, or just to see it on television with the music, as you say, the television, the music. You know, it's all of a sudden we're back. Yeah. That's what you can say. We are back, and it's a great feeling. And I didn't think I'd see European football for some time with this club the way it was going. It was looking horrible, wasn't it, a few years ago? And it looked like we had to basically knock down every brick and start again. Well, we kind of did that to a degree, but not at any cost as far as going down the league. You know, some teams have to go get relegated before they do that. We didn't have to do that. So I'm very happy where we are at the moment, and looking forward to it.
I think Arsene Wenger was right, wasn't he? I think fourth place is a trophy, isn't it? Because it means so much. It's
think, Steve, it did, but I think it means more now because there's more teams around now. You know,
Yeah,
so
definitely.
it's true what he said, but I think we had Man United to worry about, Chelsea when all the money came. So it was us, Man United, Chelsea. Were Liverpool good then? I suppose they were.
No,
Were they?
they were
weren't,
all
were
right.
They
No,
weren't.
were a
They weren't a
Europa League
Euro. No.
No.
So it was like, yes, I see what he was saying, but I don't think it was as much an achievement as it would be getting into the fourth position for 10 years or 15 years like we did before. Be a much bigger achievement now, I feel.
I agree. I think he was right. Because even at the time, I thought he was right. It was just, one, the timing wasn't right to say it, because we were in a time where we weren't really looking like we were making a concerted effort to push on. It was like we were happy to be in the full spot. It was like we were happy to be in the Champions League. So I can understand where the frustrations were coming from, because when we did have opportunities to push in the league, we didn't. When we did have opportunities to bring in extra players in the league that we needed to push on, we didn't. For certain reasons, you look at the Cronkies and they will openly admit that there was no reason why they would invest in the latter years of Arsene Wenger when they were in shared ownership. So that didn't help us at the time as well. But yeah, the importance of Champions League was definitely understated previously, and getting back in it is just going to be the music, and like you said, everything. That some of the best games I've ever seen Arsenal play that I will never forget are Champions League games, and it hasn't been where we've won it. It hasn't been where we've not gone into the final with it. It's been like a group game against Barcelona or a knockout game against a certain team.
Yeah.
It's just the moments. You live for those moments, and yeah, it's good to be back. It is good to be back, and you'll proper feel it.
My memories, Kieran, of European football at its finest at the Emirates was, I got this football in my mind, Kleb. He played some games in the European. Some of those
what
European
a player!
stuff. He was unbelievable, and I don't think he gets the respect he deserves. Certain people I speak to, they go, "He weren't much good, was he?" I'm going, "Hello."
No. He was one of the best dribblers of the ball I've ever seen.
Yes,
you couldn't get it off him.
No,
he wouldn't shoot. That was his problem. He didn't shoot.
Yeah,
but there's a reason why Barcelona got him, because he was the linchpin. He was the glue. He made everything tick over when he was with us. He was a quality player, very underrated, very underrated. Ross said there's still one brick left, and his name is Cedric. Yeah, like I said, I think we said it. I don't think he's going to get games. I think it's just a case of making up the numbers. We didn't get in an alternative right back. Timber would have been in that position. It was Cedric's just there to fill up the squad. Otherwise, you're going to have to put in a youth player. And to say we're better off putting in a youth player, I just don't agree. Because unless that youth player is better, then you don't play him.
Can I just interrupt something, Sam? Can you mention Timber? Just change the subject slightly. I saw, I think, 20 minutes, a shortened version of the Germany-Japan game.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy was unbelievable.
Oh yeah, he was, wasn't he? Tracking back.
Oh my
defensively,
God.
Yeah, very good.
Passing those balls across field.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big fan of his. I know he got injured and he got a question mark, but when he was fit, we forget how good he really was.
Yeah, he was. So yeah, we've got options. I'm excited for the Champions League. I'm not going to get my hopes too high. Get out the group stage, as Steve was saying earlier. Get out the group stage. See who we get. Hopefully, we get a tie which is in our favour, and then push on from there. It's our first season back in the Champions League. For me, it's about another season where we can progress on in another competition and actually go to do something in these competitions, not just put out a weakened team and that doesn't look like they're interested in the game. The Carabao Cup. So we've got Brentford in the Carabao Cup on September the 27th. Steve, how would you play this? Obviously, the FA Cup, you want to put out your strongest team. Depending on who we're going to get, we will put out probably a weakened team in the FA Cup. But the Carabao Cup is always one where I've always seen it as a good way of bringing in some of your fringe players that you want to see get minutes and get game time, and obviously blood some of the youth. How would you play it?
Yeah, I mean, I think whatever team we put out, it's going to will be a strong side. I think we don't want to get knocked out, and Brentford's going to be a tough game. This ain't an easy game, is it? Going away to Brentford. So I think you're right. I think I'm the same as you. I want to see the fringe players play. I want to see players like I want to see Trossard in there. I want to see Emil Smith-Rowe in there. I want to see Vieira in there. I'd probably Tommy Asher at right back. Left back, we ain't really got a left back, have we? Left back is only Zinchenko. Which again goes back to the thing. I still can't believe we haven't bought another defender in. It will baffle me all through the whole season, or maybe till January, hopefully. But yeah, Jorginho, I'd like to see play Reiss Nelson. But at the same time, I think like the mainstay of I'd like to see. We're obviously going to have a good goalkeeper. Ray, I'd probably be in goal. I'd probably stick with the majority. We're going to have a good defence either way, aren't we? Even if we play Gabriel Saliba, whether we play three at the back, whether it be Zinchenko, Tommy Ashu, Ben White, we're going to be strong at the back, so that's never going to be a problem. Probably like Jorginho. I'd like to see Jorginho and Rice, and probably someone like Vieira, playing in the Odegaard position. Reiss Nelson, give us Saka. Please don't play Saka. Please do not play Saka in the League Cup. He is knackered. He is knackered. That kid. I'm a bit worried about him, actually. I'm getting a little bit worried about him. He looks absolutely shattered. Again, more worried than I've ever been. So don't play him. Don't play him in the FA Cup either. Just give him rests, right? So we can play Reiss Nelson, Trossard on the other side, and probably Nketiah down the middle. And that's a side that can beat Brentford. And obviously we can have the guys on the bench like the Jesuses, and I probably mentioned a player that should play, but Kior. Maybe I'm not. I need to see more Kiar. I'm not 100% on him yet, but that's the type of side I'd like to see. Still very, very strong, but enough to win the game. And once we've won the game, then bring a few off and whack a few youngsters on. But I want to go as far as in every competition. Man City do. They play out a strong side. They want to win every game. I want to win every game. I don't want to see 9 changes from the team that played in the Premier League on the weekend. I don't want to see that. Like what Tottenham did, and they got knocked out, didn't they? I don't want to see that. I want us to see that we want to win every single game. And you go into the next game, even when you go into a league game, you've got that, morale bounce that you're part of a winning squad. So, and I think winning games is so important for players like Vieira, for especially Smith-Rowe, Tommy Ashu, and the players that are not going to get games of minutes in the Premier League, that we have long cup runs. So don't mess it up by doing 9 changes, and let's see Smith-Rowe, play some game time this season, because we just at the moment we just don't know when. Very important to win it. I don't want to see no weakened sides. Yeah,
I agree. Melvin, likes of Smith-Rowe, Trossard, Eddie Nketiah, these are all players that could definitely have a say in bringing Adamson silverware this season, and also push for a chance in the first team with their performances in this competition, surely.
Oh, definitely. But one thing I would do in this competition, the League Cup, not the FA Cup, obviously so much, is I'd give Saliba a rest and play Kior. I would definitely do that.
Yeah.
I think I just want to not put him in cotton wool, but you don't have to play him 60 games a season, because he is so integral to our team. You've just got to handle him with a little bit of kid gloves. He's strong, he's young, but we saw what happened last season when he got injured, how we deteriorated. So I think that's what we should do. I agree with Saka as well. In fact, The good thing is, at the moment, it's the second half. Saka hasn't played tonight yet, which is good.
Yeah.
So that's a good. Hopefully, he doesn't get brought on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. Yeah, I mean, well, we mentioned all these players we want to play in against Brentford away, but if you play all these players, then we are going to have a wholesale changes. I think the manager should make 4 changes to the starting lineup, and then see how the game goes. And if we're comfortable, which it may not be about Brentford, they're a good team. Especially their forwards are excellent. If that happens, then if we're comfortable, then bring some more on. If not, then bring some of the more experienced on. But I wouldn't like him to bring everybody on. I mean, I do want to see Emil Smith-Rowe play for us, obviously. I think
he has to play.
He's got to play.
Yeah, and, he's got to play.
Yeah, got to. People like him. He's the one. Him is the one that I really want to see play. Trossard needs to run out as well. He ran out against Fulham. It didn't quite happen for him that day, nor for the rest of the team, in all fairness. But I'd like to see him get a run out. Apart from that, as I say, the centre half change and one other, I'll be quite happy.
All right. So hopefully we do see that, and as I said, it'd be a good opportunity to get some silverware. I saw a few people say that, and I do think this is because of some of the stick they gave Man United fans last season. It's talking about, but I don't want the Carabao Cup to be the only cup we win. I'm just thinking, I don't think it doesn't work like that. Like, ideally, we'd like to win another cup. Ideally, we'd like to win an FA Cup or Champions League or the Premier League. But you can't turn your nose up at any cup. You can't turn your nose up at a trophy. It's just absolutely ludicrous talk.
No.
So far this season, 4 games, 3 wins and 1 draw. Steve, how would you say the start of the season's been? How we played, the progression from the Nottingham Forest game all the way to the Manchester United game. Good start to the season. Excited as we push on. Still room for improvement. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely for improvement. He's obviously trying new things, which really hasn't affected us too badly. We've come out with 10 points out of 12. I think we would have taken that, at the start of the season, 10 out of 12. I think it's, if someone was to ask me, probably a 6.5, 6 out of 10 maybe so far. But probably it's probably a bit harsh. I'd probably give it like a 7 out of 10. We've not been at our free flowing best. No, not by a long way. And I think that's mainly due to Mikel trying different things, which I don't mind. I know a lot of people do mind it, but personally, I don't mind it. I don't mind trying new things, and for me, it hasn't affected us because we're only 2 points off of Manchester City. Yes, they're the team to catch, and look, I mean, they've done well to sit in top of the league. They got 4 games out of 4, but at the end of the day, they've played Fulham and Burnley and Sheffield United, 2 teams that got promoted, and to be honest with you, struggled in those games. So, but it's 4 games. We can do a lot better. It's very hard to judge the players at the minute. Some things that that are easier to judge. There's been questions about why Gabriel hasn't been playing. There's some questions about Havertz. That they're some of the big things I think Arsenal need to sort out. As I said, I think I know what Arteta's trying to do. I think Saka's been poor so far this season by his standards. Like I sort of alluded to a little bit, he needs a rest. But look, we was very well, did very well against Manchester United. Fulham was a disappointment. We should have won that game. But overall, it's not too bad to start. I'd give, as I say, probably give us a 7 out of 10 for our first 4 games. Plenty of things for improvement, but yeah, I mean, football fans, I mean, Arsenal. I've seen some Arsenal fans. I mean, they love a scapegoat, don't they? Arsenal fans. I think if we haven't got a scapegoat, then I think they panic, and some of the overreaction to certain things is that I've seen and on social media and on certain podcasts is absolutely baffle me. I wonder if they've ever watched the game and or played the game. But I'm quite happy. Declan Rice has been absolutely phenomenal for me. And we haven't had our full team out yet. Look, we played, the first 4 games. I don't think once we've had our first 11. So when you put that together with the fact that we're still trying new things, it'd be interesting to see what happens going forward with sort of Havertz, Gabriel, and people like that. But happy, I'm not too disappointed.
All right, Melvin, it starts the season. What are we, 4 games in, 3 wins, 1 draw. If you probably looked at it beforehand, if the draw was against Man United, you probably wouldn't have complained. But it was against Fulham, dropped points there. But we got them points back against Man United. What's your thoughts on the season so far?
At the moment, 7 out of 10 agree with Steve. For me, it's been disappointing. Not so much the 3 wins out of 4 with the 1 draw. It's the performance level. I think in every game we've won, it's been fine margins, and you don't want that. You can't get away with that all season. So I'm a bit disappointed with that. We've been lethargic at times. We haven't moved the ball as quickly as we could have done. I mean, look at that goal against Man United. We scored the equaliser. That was a beautiful goal because we were fast, direct, one touch. They couldn't live with us, United, for that goal. How many times have we done that? The amount of times we haven't done that. And last season we did it a lot, and it was brilliant. And we've got to get back to that football again. So the teams actually fear to attack us in case we get the ball. Because at the moment they don't fear us getting the ball because we're a little bit slow, we're a little bit sideways again. So hopefully it's their bit of rust that's coming off, and we'll be back to our best within a few games.
With what you're saying there, are we to expect this a little bit, considering we've swapped out 2 players in key areas in our midfield, and 2 new players have come in, so they're not quite adapted to the pace of the way we play in Rice and Havertz, and it may take a little bit more time to get used to those patterns of play that we are used to, that we did see eventually against Man United. Do you think it may take a little bit more time in that, Melvin?
Definitely. With Havertz, most certainly is at the moment, he hasn't found his position, hasn't found his feet yet. And so we're playing really not with 11 players. Last season we were playing as a team. Everyone knew what everyone's job was, and they did it. This season with Havertz, he's just getting in, and he's got to find his feet. And they got to realise when he makes the run, and he's got to do the same thing himself. So it will take time, and that's perhaps why we're, if you like, spluttering a bit. That's not the only reason. He's not the only reason. There's other reasons as well. I think taking White from the right back position in a game or 2 has stopped Saka from doing what he's doing. Mm-hmm. I think that's been a reason. I think that playing Partey at right back hasn't helped because we're not going to get any form of overlapping. And also it leaves a bit, I think, at the back, a bit weak at the back if a team attacks us down that side. So I think there's a few things going on. And also, if you take Gabriel out of our defence, it's not going to improve the team, is it? At best, it'll be 1% down. At worst, it'll be 20-30% down. So they're my reasons anyway. And listen, you get it right, things will click, and we will be hopefully as good as we were last season. And with a better squad, we should be even better.
Yeah, I agree. Steve, it's going to take a little bit more time because we swapped out those 2 in the middle, and what Melvin said there is with regards to Ben White, a key figure in our team last season, working down the flank with Bukayo Saka. Going to take him probably a game to get back into the swing of things and get back to where we were hoping that he would progress this season in maybe overlapping a bit more and being a bit more danger as a typical right back?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what Arteta's plans are still going to be, through the rest of the season. But it's we have got new players, and no matter what, whether you've paid 65 million or whether you paid 150 million or whether you paid 25 million, it's irrelevant. That player, you're going to have to take time to get used to your surroundings and teammates. I mean, that's just a given, and especially when you're changing your whole way of playing as well. We still don't know whether that way of playing is going to work. And I mean, he went back to the 4, against Manchester United.
No, he's gone.
No, it's gone. Yeah, I thought it was me, Kieran. I thought it was me.
Yeah, I just for a second as well.
Sorry, lads.
There he is.
Yeah. Yeah, he went back to the 4 against Manchester United, and everybody was saying, "Well, Gabriel's back." Gabriel had a great game, but I always knew that he would go back to the 4. We've stated on the show many a time, or we've spoken that when you play the better teams, you have to play 4 at the back. So we still don't know if Gabriel's going to be playing, when we play against a team like Everton on Sunday, and whether we'll go back to doing the 3 again. We'll have to wait and see. You'll know against Everton, because if Gabriel's not playing against Everton, you know the way it's going to go for the rest of the season. Right, because I had no doubts that Gabriel would play against Man United. So let's see what happens. So let's not all of a sudden sort of think, oh, we've played 4 at the back now. That's the way it's going to be going on. I'm not 100% sure that's going to be in Arteta's head. I think he's doing this for a reason. Do I think it's right? I don't know. Again, he's doing this new system, and it's still in work in progress. We don't know how it's going to work. If we go back to the 4, I don't think you can play Havertz in it. I think it's a bit difficult, and I don't think he's going to put £65 million straight on the bench. I don't think Arteta will do that. I think he's going to stick with it and stick with Havertz, for at least 10, 12 games until he's totally 100% sure that it doesn't work. After 4 games, I think Havertz is playing against Everton. I'll be pretty sure of that. But it is going to take time. It is making a difference. Whether it's affecting other players or not, I'm not too sure. I think Saka's just been poor. I don't think the way we've been playing, or the way that with new players coming in and a different system with Ben White. I mean, yes, Ben White does help Saka in certain areas at times. The way he plays when he sort of plays the ball into him, and he'll play off and he'll run into the channels. Yes, but Saka's doing loose passes. Saka's missing sitters. That's nothing to do with Ben White. That's totally different. That's just, for me, Saka's knackered and needs a rest. But he's a quality player, and he could come against Everton and score an absolutely weldy on Sunday. But yeah, it's work in progress. It's new players. Rice has just settled in, like we've said, straight away, and seems like he's been there, all his life. But for me, at the moment, I wouldn't get too excited about the way and think that he's going to go back to this back 4 again against Everton or going forward. Something tells me Arteta's a little bit more stubborn than that. And as I said, I always expected him to play the back 4 against the better teams anyway. So let's see. I'm split. I'm split with what I want to see, because Gabriel's just quality. I mean, he's just seeing him on the bench is weird, but my mind does sort of play tricks with me because of the system.
Yeah. Personally, I see Gabriel playing. I think that as we go on, the more likelihood is that we see Declan Rice in a single pivot as we go on, because with Zinchenko there, he's an extra midfielder. So he would, when Declan Rice goes forward, he sits in the middle. Whoever plays on the left, or Havertz, or whoever plays in that second 8, drops into that position on the left back position. Also, Martinelli drops in there. 3 at the back is substantial enough, especially when you've got Saliba, White, and Gabriel in that 3 when they push over when Zinchenko does move into that midfield role. Teams against Everton shouldn't be a worry in our midfield when you've got Zinchenko, Havertz, and Rice in there. Same with the majority of the teams in the league. It is the games where we come up against a Man City. It's whether we potentially see a Jorginho or a Partey come in instead of a Havertz is what I personally see and hope to see. I think we've got a solid squad here. Gabriel has to be a part of that. We saw his talents and his skills, which are so underrated in this team by some sections of not just our fans, but other people. That bit of defending, if that was Saliba, where he scooted back in the perfect time to stop that, to have that goal being classed as offside, that was Saliba, they'd be talking about it on Sky Sports for weeks, how he's going to be a Ballon d'Or winner, how he's the next Virgil van Dijk. But Gabriel does it, and it kind of, what was he doing there? Why is he leaning forward? Oh, actually, no, it's a great bit of defending. And it's only that seems to be the Arsenal sites and Premier League that are pointing out and saying, what a great bit of defending. But he's so underrated as a defender. He's not just a bully who can be a bit of muscle. He's got that Brazilian flair. He can pass the ball. He can move with the ball. And he's mobile as well. So, yeah.
So were you sorry, Kiz, with you saying and Melv, it's just a question. With you saying all that, and I agree with everything you said. Why isn't he playing him? Why isn't he playing those first 3 games?
Because
I think I know football. I've watched enough football to make an opinion. But this one I can't. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to get my head around it, and I keep going to the back to the thing that you don't fancy him in that position. I can't think of nothing. Unless they've had something happen behind the scenes, unless there's been like something going on.
No, it can't be that you don't fancy him. Come on.
Yeah. Why has he not played? Fitness, maybe? Fitness?
No, I think it's because we didn't have an inverted fullback. If you look,
what Zinchenko
our inverted fullback was meant to be, the other option was meant to be Timber. No other player can play that position. It got to the end of last season when we needed another option as an inverted fullback, and he tried Partey. To us, it didn't work. To him, we got results in that game. So to him, it did work. It was a stopgap. Tomiyasu, when he plays in that role, he's not inverted. He's a different type of defender. And he obviously rates him more than he does Kieran Tierney in that position to be able to, 1, put it onto his right foot, 2, get down the flank, and 3, be as good a defender as Kieran Tierney. I just think it was a case of trying to work out how we can keep our system with the inverted player and who can be in that position. Because as soon as Zinchenko came back and was fully fit, he goes back into the team. We slot back into what was classed as the norm from last season.
But you don't think that was because we was playing Man United, though? Because we always said, didn't we? When we played the better teams, we'll go to a 4.
No, I don't think it was personally against Man United. Maybe it was forced because of Thomas Partey's injury. But we looked a lot more fluid last week with Zinchenko in that position. And I think that if Timber was here, I think we would have seen Timber as that right back, inverted right back, and not Thomas Partey. And it would have been a case of, do we bring Zinchenko back in, or do we stick with Timber? So I think that would have been the question would have been asked if Timber would have stayed fit, but not the case. Mel, what's your thoughts on it?
I'm I'm confused with the Gabriel conundrum. I really am. I just don't.
I think we all are. I think.
I
Yeah.
think that Timber was going to be in the first 11, come what may. Whether he plays him right back or left back, I think Timber definitely was in his plans to play, be a starter. It's a big shame for us. And I think what we've got to hope for is Tommy can step up, because he might be able to play left back. Because I still prefer Shevchenko to play like more forward than at left back, because he's not a left back. It's all right if you've got an inverted left back, Kieran, if he's a brilliant defender. But Shevchenko is not a brilliant defender. He's a brilliant footballer. And when he gets further up the park, he can really play. And he knits our team together. He really does. And that's why I don't want to see him necessarily play at fullback. There's better options at fullback. Timber, when he's back, as I say, it could be Tommy. Though I don't like a right-footed player at left back necessarily. Timber gets away with it, because what I've seen of him so far, he's two-footed. For some, he really is two-footed. Yeah. He naturally uses his left foot. It's not like, oh my God, he's using his left foot. It's a natural thing. So I'm sure things will work themselves out. How have we heard yet about Partey? What with how long he's going to be out for?
I think they're going to try and keep that one under wraps. It's just one of them things that Arteta likes to do. He doesn't like to announce the length of the injury unless it's a proper serious one. Don't know how serious it is. They said it's going to be a minimum of 6 weeks, didn't they?
Oh, did they 6 weeks? Right.
Minimum.
They're
saying
yes,
up to 3 months, didn't they?
I wouldn't be surprised if Partey's gone by the end of the season, if not January, from what I'm hearing.
Really, January, that means we would definitely have to bring in another player.
Yeah. We would definitely. Things I'm hearing that they he's coming towards. He's very injury prone.
Yeah.
He's one of our highest earners. He's on 200 grand a week. I think he's got maybe a year and a half left on his contract. And from what I'm hearing, there's no plans of extended it. There's been rumblings, in the summer about him leaving, talking to Saudi and Juventus. The agent was looking around. These are all true. These weren't made up things. We had Fabrizio mentioning in it. The more I think about it, the fact that he's very injury prone, he doesn't play enough for me. He's coming up to 30. He's on £200,000 a week wages. I'd be very, very surprised if he's not gone by January. I would have thought by the summer he's gone. He's gone. And to be honest with you, I love Partey as a player, but when you put those things together, the fact that we never hardly ever see him play, and his age and his wages, and the fact that Arteta's just finding it very difficult to seem to find a place for him at the moment in time. He's playing him at right back for some reason. He could have played him at, he could have easily gone back to a flat back four and played White and whatever. So he seems to be like trying to shoehorn him in. Sad, very sad, because on his day he's world class. But yeah, there's part of me that thinks that maybe we should, maybe get what we can for him there. Heavy heart.
Yeah, but at the age of 30 to 31, he's to give him a contract extension. It's going to have to be 2 years, and like you said, with the injury record that he's had, you can't offer Thomas Partey that extension on a 2-year contract when he's coming up. When next year be 31, it wouldn't make business sense. If we can get a good offer for him in the summer, Saudis sniffing around. God forbid we send him to Italy, because they'll be paying us in the next 25 years later. So don't send him to Italy. Saudi, do what everyone else done.
You sell him, Elf?
What's that?
Would you sell him now?
Well, I suppose so. Yeah, as you say, with a deep heart, because at times he's like amazing. He's just such a great footballer, but I think in this day and age, you need footballers with at least 30 plus league games a season. You can't afford them to have 10 to 15, you know?
It's also because he's such an important player, which he plays himself into that position, that you can't rely on him. So if you're playing Thomas Partey and he plays 10 games and he's your star midfielder and he gets injured for 3 months, your game completely changes. You've lost that element of midfield. So, and that's what I think we had last season, where we got to the stage where Thomas Partey had a great first half of the season. He starts to start playing too many games. Injuries start creeping in, and then we losing the midfielder. And he's with him being the main midfielder, it's not reliable, and that's the problem. You can't hang your hat on him, and we need guys that you can.
200 grand a week's a lot of money, isn't it? So for someone who don't play.
Yeah, I mean, to say he doesn't play, I don't think it's fair. If you look at the number of games he actually gets in the season, he does. The numbers tot up. It's just he seems to be out for 3-4 weeks at a time when he is out, it does hamper our season. That's undeniable. It's happened for the last 2 seasons at the important parts of the season. So big problem. All right, that is all we have time for. Thank you everyone who's been in the comment section. Russ and Sheepo, good to see you again. If you are regular to the show, make sure you press that like button and press that share button. If you are new to the show, press that like and subscribe and the notification. Thank you for joining us tonight, Steve and Melvin.
Cheers, mate. Pleasure.
Thanks very much. Yeah, thanks, Kieran. All the best.
Peace
Thanks
out,
very much.
people. Stay safe and wash your hands. Oh.